Did you know Tennessee was the fourth most moved to state in 2020? Really, it was. What is going on, everyone? Let's take a look at the volunteer state, Tennessee. Tennessee was admitted into the Union on June 1st, 1796, making them the 16th state. Tennessee has a history of Civil War battles, frontiersmen, and Smoky Mountain moonshine. They were initially part of North Carolina, but later became the Southwest Territory. Tennessee has just under 7 million residents, and they gain about 82 people per day. So why are people moving there? Well, there's thousands of reasons for that, but I'm going to tell you about 10 of them right now. Number 10, low taxes. Tennessee is like a thief with a conscience when it comes to taxes. They don't take much. Not only do the residents not have to worry about paying state income tax on salaries and wages, but they have very low property taxes as well. Keep in mind though, there is currently a flat tax imposed on all income from interest, from bonds, and dividends from stock. Okay, so that's a bunch of stuff that 60% of the people don't have to worry about. I just thought I'd mention it before all the anal accountants start dropping comments on us. According to Wallet Hub, Tennessee has the third lowest tax residence. Yeah, so you get to keep a lot of what you make in Tennessee. And that's one of the main reasons people are moving there. I know 2 people that moved there, and that's one of the first things they'll tell you. Right behind moonshine. No, just kidding. They don't say that. Number 9. A low cost of living. Besides not taking it in the pants from the tax man, Tennessee has a reasonable cost of living. The volunteer state as a whole is 11% lower than the national average. Home prices are cheap too. The median home price in the whole state is $164,000. Even in the large popular cities like Nashville and Memphis, the median home prices are $340,000 in Nashville and $150,000 in Memphis. But here's the realistic numbers. If you go to Memphis and you're looking for a house in a decent neighborhood, I just poked around Zillow and things like that, you're probably looking at somewhere between $175,000 and $200,000. That's decent live-in. It's not a mansion, it's decent. If you go to Nashville, do the same thing, you're probably looking at about $320,000 to $375,000 to get a decent home in that area. So it's a little bit of a difference, but there are plenty of nice small towns outside of those cities that are dirt cheap for really good houses. You can get a house on a lake for like $240,000. That's decent, move-in ready. Also keep in mind, like if you ever watch my worst towns video on Tennessee, there's some small towns you should avoid at all costs. Keep that in mind, but that's really in all states. But Tennessee they overflow with those. Number 8, the music scene. Now, it's no secret that Nashville, Tennessee is known for being a music mecca. It has one of the best music scenes in the country, often being referred to as Music City. Some of the most famous musical acts, country music, and just about any kind of music got their start in Nashville. Dolly Parton, Johnny Cash, B.B. King, Elvis Presley, the Old Crow Medicine Show. Nashville even has a minor league baseball team that's called the Nashville Sound in reference to the music that came out of there, which is known as the Nashville Sound. And it's not just older musicians, they still have a thriving music scene to this day in Nashville. And really, the whole state is very much a musical state. I mean, go on a canoeing trip with any one of your friends in any one of the rivers down there and you'll find some kid that can play a banjo. That usually leads to other weird stuff. So if you see a kid playing a banjo while you're on a canoe trip, don't take the canoe trip. Number 7, high-rated schools and universities. Now this one may shock some people, but Tennessee has a decent school system and their universities are really good. So if you have kids and you're thinking about moving to Tennessee, they'll be in good hands. Obviously, most places. Every state has some real stinkers when it comes to schools and anything. I mean, some have horrible hospitals and great hospitals, but you know what I mean. On average, the schools are decent in Tennessee. They are home to many of the country's top universities and colleges like Vanderbilt, University of Tennessee, Belmont University, University of the South, Rhodes College, University of Memphis, and Maryville College. According to Niche.com, they have several top-ranked public school districts in Tennessee. They even offer free community college to high school graduates. So that's something they've kind of started here in Oregon too, last couple of years. Community college is free if you graduated high school with an average grades. You know, if you barely made it through high school, they're not going to give you a free community college for you to barely make it through community college, I guess. Number 6, beautiful landscapes. Tennessee may not have an ocean or the Rocky Mountains, but when you see the landscape in Tennessee, you won't miss them. Hiking, mountain biking, fishing, hunting, finding moonshine stills, camping, boating, you name it, the great outdoors of Tennessee has it for you. Here's something they have plenty of that people from the west side of the country have heard of, I'm sure, but probably never experienced. Water holes or swimming holes, whatever you want to call them. They have a ton of these, and the locals always know where the best ones are. They're a good time. They have them in Mississippi, and I've been to plenty there, but Tennessee's big on these things too. Summers at a swimming hole or a water hole, it's a good time. If you ever just visit Tennessee and you're in the Chattanooga area, climb up Sunset Rock at Chattanooga's Lookout Mountain. You could see 3 states at the same time: Alabama, North Carolina, and Georgia from the top of that rock. It's pretty neat. You have the Smoky Mountains that goes from Tennessee to North Carolina. And actually, the Great Smoky Mountain National Park is the most visited national park in the U.S. I did not know that till like a couple months ago. I read that. I thought, wow, I have no idea. Number 5. The land of opportunity. Living in Tennessee allows you to go any direction you want as far as jobs and career, especially in healthcare. 4 of the state's largest employers outside the government are healthcare companies. I have a friend who was born and raised in Tennessee and says almost everyone he knows has worked in healthcare or for FedEx at some point. The unemployment rate in Nashville is 7% lower than the national average. As far as the whole state goes, in 2019, the unemployment rate in the U.S. was 3.5%. Tennessee was a touch lower at 3.4%. I'd give you 2020 numbers, but as we all know, those numbers are a mess, and they really don't reflect normality. Or sanity for that point. Jesus, if you looked at the numbers from 2020, oh my God, it's horrible. Not just Nashville's doing good. Chattanooga has become a hot spot for entrepreneurs in the last few years. A lot of tech companies are starting to head to Chattanooga. Number 4, it's a very welcoming vibe. The people of Tennessee are very welcoming and very friendly. Even in the bad areas I talked about in past videos, you'll find friendly, neighborly people that are always willing to give you a chance to be their friend. They're very talented in the hospitality department. Tennessee is a southern state, and just like Alabama, Georgia, and all them, they live up to that southern hospitality reputation. The locals are very protective of their people and their culture. If you want proof of that, go back and read the comments of the video I did about the worst small towns in Tennessee. That video is 2 years old, and I'm still getting grief daily about it. Now, before you do, stop typing. I did do a video on the worst small towns in Tennessee. There's some small towns that suck in that state, just like every state. I wasn't picking on Tennessee. I was just bringing up stats, facts about some really bad small towns in Tennessee. That doesn't mean there aren't great parts of that state and great people. You could have both. I always get those comments, which is it? You just said it sucked because of these small towns. Now you're saying it's good. It can be both. It's okay. Number 3, warm weather. Do you like hot and humid days? Do you like the feeling of sweat rolling between your cheeks while you're standing still in the shade? If you want that glorious feeling several times a summer, move to Tennessee. Summers are very hot and very humid, but if you don't like cold weather, this is a perfect place for you. They have mild winters, and one of the warmest cities they have is Memphis, where the average temperature during the summer sticks around 90 degrees. Number 2, the food and the drink. Memphis ribs, Jack Daniels, biscuits, and red-eye gravy. These are just some of the things you'll get used to and probably enjoy in Tennessee. The spicy dry rub slow cook ribs are a classic in Tennessee. So are actually moon pies. If you don't know what a moon pie is, basically it's a s'more, but instead of a graham cracker, they use a graham cracker cookie. So you take marshmallow, squeeze it between 2 cookies, and then cover it in chocolate. Moon pie. Anyway, it was first invented in a Chattanooga bakery. Moon pies, they're like a Tennessee tradition. In the 1950s, stores began selling it with RC Cola, and it became a thing. There's an annual RC Cola and Moon Pie Festival. Yeah, I think it might have been canceled last year like everything else, but they have it. But if you go there, everyone drinks Jack Daniels that does drink. It just seems like a thing there. I mean, it is a big thing with Tennessee, Jack Daniels. You can actually go to their distillery and take a tour. It's pretty neat. All right, before we get to number 1, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and don't forget, we have another channel called On This Day. There's a link down below. I keep being told I should promote it on this channel more, so I am. Appreciate it if you go over there and watch some of the videos, maybe subscribe. All right, on to number 1. And number 1, festivals and things to do. First and foremost, you have the big music festival, Bonnaroo Music and Arts Festival. It's an awesome time on a 700-acre farm. It's 4 days of just killer bands. I mean, everything from Elton John to Fish, U2, Pearl Jam, Flaming Lips, Paul McCartney. The list goes on. It's crazy the talent that they get for this every single year. And of course you have a bunch of other ones, but my favorite is the High on the Hog Festival. It's Tennessee's best barbecue competition festival thing. This festival features like 50 to 70 barbecue teams, both professional and amateur. And yes, this is a team sport. It takes place at Timms Ford Lake in the city of Winchester. It's a good time and it's a lot of good food. They also have the Grand Ole Opry, Pigeon Forge, Dollywood, which is actually in Pigeon Forge, Bristol Motor Speedway, the Tennessee Titans, Graceland, the list goes on. And one thing, if you ever go to Pigeon Forge, they have a bunch of things going on there. But one thing they do have too many of, go-kart tracks. I swear to God, there's like 8 different go-kart tracks there that are not in like one place where one company owns them. It's like all these different companies have their own go-kart tracks competing for go-kart dominance. It's just weird, but it's fun, so that's good. There is always something to do in Tennessee, and I'm telling you, the festivals and the different events they have, it's a good time. All right, that's today's list. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you got some information out of it. Take a look at Tennessee. If you've ever thought about moving there, now's a perfect time. They're gaining people every year, but not at such a fast pace. It's overblown, you know? All right, everyone. Have a great day. Be nice to each other.